That is a lot that they've just did to themselves, and feels like with their performance and with the performance of their star player in terms of carrying, he's one of the top goal scorers in the league right now. Solary should be taking this.
Not the close as of late in the grid.
I do believe we have once again received the Robo Crafters rather than the regular Crafters, so we'll be hoping for his return pretty darn soon. But RLCS and Solary, the first game, best of 5 as all of the other games in this round, and Polar gets himself a nice find on a nice block. And you see that RLCS are playing with fire. Tox, one of the new players on the Solary squad, he himself moving around the teams here and there, being absolutely beaten to that ball. A great start for RLCS, and again, in a series that I would predict that they were not going to be doing that well. But a goal to start it off with, exactly what we need. Dead Monster on his own dribble. Beaten, and now Polar is all alone, but that one single touch alleviates all the pressure the Solary has been putting on, and the rest of RLCS players return back on. Magnus with a block. RLCS try to move the ball out again slowly, but they're making ways into the orange side, and as it stands, RLCS are looking for that second one, players in position, ready to take any clears the Solary have.
Hello, I'm back, Jam. Thanks for covering. I don't know what happened. Internet's not playing ball today, but regardless, yeah, good start by Rix, just getting the pressure and dealing with the Solary pressure quite well as they came downfield, and so we're just looking a little bit apprehensive in the back line, not challenging as quickly as you would expect them to. But this Rix team had been flying all about the place. Especially you look at a player like Polar, who's very mechanical and can just be a big disruptor downfield. He's going to be the carry, I think. If there's going to be one carry on this field today, I think it's going to be Polar's Rix. But look at Tox just finding the gap and tying it up. I think Jam, you've muted yourself.
Oh, well, I mean, if we're just going for kerfuffles today, this is going exactly right. Brilliant play by Tox is what I was going to say on 0 boost, but believing that play is going to finish off in his own way. Exotic it also makes it 2-1 quickly enough for Solary to forget the problems that they had at the very beginning of the game. Quick 1-2 punch.
Yeah, if you score quickly off kickoff like that, it can get a lot of mistakes out of you, just get you back on track. And a couple of quick goals to put Solary in front, and like we're saying, on paper, Solary should be running away with this, but got to think, the practice that Solary have had to do has been in places like the field and the Monaco Gaming Show, as you mentioned, Jam. Rix are a grid team. They've been practicing day in, day out, or week in, week out, rather, against the top RLCS teams. Not been doing so well, but at least they have that level of competition that they have consistently, where Solary missed out for this split.
I think it is very important for the teams that are battling through a variety of tournaments, the weeklies, the monthlies. The likes of the field allow them to play against the top of the top, cream de la cream, and that's exactly how I think they're going to be is going to help them grow. And especially knowing that with the likes of Magnus on the side of RLCS, he already has that experience. Digital Bacon has mentioned Chaussette as one of the veteran players from RLCS Season 1. Well, Magnus has been trying to get into RLCS since Season 2. And as it stands, he also knows a thing or two. But all that experience, especially against the new players, might be useful. But man, can they do some of the new tricks. And Solary will be feels like a team on your radars for quite a long time.
Absolutely, and you've got to compare the vibe that Rix give off, at least in terms of how the team is structured with a veteran and 2 up-and-coming hotshot players. It's a very similar feel to how Endpoint have the team structured. Having Metsonoris, obviously Magnus' old teammate from way back in the day, as that veteran player, and then Virtuoso and Relating Wave, the 2 up-and-coming players, hotshot players. Got to compare them, at least in that vibe, but I'm slightly biased because I'm on the Endpoint stream for the grid, but they're a much better squad than this Rix side, as was demonstrated when we 3-1 them in the group. But Solary just putting all the shots onto the Rix net right now. They need to transition upfield. Not had a lot of opportunities to do that. Magnus will come up with absolutely no boost in the try and carry this one through and gets Demo onto Tox. These demos and bumps aren't really working out for Rix. They are getting them, but they just can't capitalize on them. And right back down the field goes Solary, Tox towards the net, and it's off the crossbar.
And that was a really risky play for Rix GG as well. They were not able to get that ball whatsoever. Ooh. Thankfully, it went just a little bit high, and then the rest of their positioning suggested that they wanted to go on a quick counterattack, which they started to execute. You find them in the orange side again, but that back pass will confuse the Solary players just for a second, but Rix GG are in dire need of a shot. That one goal that they scored is still the only shot that they've taken on the net. And it doesn't help that they have been stuck in their sight for such a long time. Solary just taking shot after the other, literally lining up to take more shots on the Rix GG net. So for them, it is do or die with last 15 seconds. Rix GG need to just bring everyone out with the ball and also not concede at the same time.
Yeah, just send the house downfield, but Solary are just going to make that one tough. Tipping in is, though, Dead Monster. Polar does have a lane to go through, but I don't think he had a lot of boost, and certainly was in a very awkward position as he was coming up. A chance nonetheless, but Solary do hold on to take this first one 2-1 in the opening game of this series here, Jam.
When I said, and when we both said, actually, just take everything, take the house, go down the field, I didn't expect him to be doing that in such a stumbly fashion. Rix GG were not believing that they're actually getting an attack going, that their passing plays 1-2-3s are going their way, and as a result, that looked a little bit strained against Solary and just against their upcoming opponents, whoever they might be in upper or lower bracket. They need to do much better than that, and so expecting a little bit of a change in the second game, because for now, basically all we saw from Rix GG was defense, 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 goal, defense, 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 and defense sometimes winning championships, but right now they need to win the series.
So a lot of defense from Rix is what I'm hearing from you. So turn that into more defense is the key. No, they need to turn it upfield and get those counters going, because Solary held on to the middle of the field so well and just been cutting out everything that Rix have tried to push upfields, even just a little bit. So for me, it's kind of the similar story to what I was saying with the Singularity game when White Demons were a little bit down and out. You just need to challenge these balls early and get right in the faces of Solary and just take the fight straight to them, and exactly what they're doing at the top of game number 2 here. In the first shot of this second game here in Forbidden Temple will go the way of Dead Monster, but easily saved away by Solary. And the only shot that Rix had in that first game was the goal that went in from Polar, and that was in very early, and a very early goal in this one as well here, Jam. Kieran will take the first one within the first 20 seconds.
Yes, Rix GG have improved their shooting average from 5 shots, 1 shot per game to okay, I'm not doing math. Most importantly, though, Solary completely leave Rix GG defense empty-handed. Nobody was ready for that shot, despite 2 players being in, and Tox can actually get something going. Goes underneath Magnus. A smart play that still doesn't get them the goal, but the players are all in force in front of Rix GG's net. And you could see how much pressure, how many dangerous shots they can bring to this. Solary are not joking. Yes, they saw how Rix GG performed in the first game. They do not want to allow Rix GG to start healing, to start improving.
Yeah, they want to keep the pressure on, keep the bleeding going, but Polar will stop the bleeding just for a moment. Big dunk over the player in the middle. Tox tried to bring this one down so slowly, but Magnus, great positioning and great awareness to get in front of it and set Polar up for the empty net.
This was not a set play, but Polar has recognized that the ball has stuck in the middle, and of course Magnus has set up his teammate with that. With Exotic playing too close to the heart, that was the perfect opportunity for Polar to do something heroic, and that he did. Again, a completely improvised play forward that does get the dividends. It does get some pressure on Solary. They haven't conceded a goal yet in this series up until this point. And so now it's be interesting to see what is in their playbook after a goal has been scored.
Yeah, we'll see how Rix bounce back from this one, or at least keep the pressure going. Monster off the back from Polar with the setup, and Tox just gets a clip onto it and saves it enough to let Carrion get this one out. But Dead Monster still in possession, can't get the flip reset cleanly off of that one, set up Polar. You saw the intent there from Polar and Dead Monster, just pass it between themselves and let Magnus clean up if necessary.
My goodness, there is more and more coming out of Solary. They're trying every single way to get into the Rix GG defense. So far, it isn't necessarily working. The shots are there. The pressure is for sure on point, but they have not been getting as many shots as in the previous game. As I'm looking, RLCS have started to find that, not the back of the net, but at least the front of the net with a goalie of Solary in front of it much more often. And so now, with the tides turning just a tad, RLCS are looking like they broke that camel's back, that goalless camel's back in the first game. And are looking for some more stuff, especially with those demos coming in. Solary's game plan is becoming undone.
Certainly is, and like I said at the break there, just the turning the pressure on to Solary, getting in their faces. It's worked out well for Rick so far, and Polar drops that one down. Exotic able to step in front of it, but Magnus still lying in wait, waiting for that third man shot to come in. Dead Monster still there. Magnus will try and get it off the backboard from Dead Monster. At least Polar will keep this one going for Rex at the moment. Exotic and Carrion a little bit lost there, and we were waiting for the shot to come, and it did eventually get there. But that was very dangerous for the Solary defense. 2 minutes still to go in this one, and everything has been going Rex's way, just not the goal, although Magnus will finally take the lead for Rex.
Everything is coming up Magnus, and everything is coming up RLCS. I've been watching the boost meters of Solary for the past minute or so. They're having such a hard time controlling their own boost, just finding any of the boost on the field, and also getting those clears going. And of course, eventually, RLCS, with the help of another demo, find themselves an opening through a tired and helpless Solary defense who really can't do much. Maybe a counter? A counter will do exactly what they wanted. And Solary want to keep it as square as possible, perhaps with a potential of a win later on. But this is what you want to see from Solary. A nice team play that RLCS previously were not able to do anything against.
Yeah, just clean passes from Solary. That's how they won their first game. In clean fashion, but Ricks have seemed to have had their number here. It was a mistake from Magnus that set that one up in the first place and let it get to that position for Solary to just find their people. Exotic, and again, just clean cut passes to their teammates, and Exotic will come in for that one. Carrion still lurking deep in this blue corner. Again, Magnus trying to get this one clear. And just nothing developing for Solary right now. They've put out the intent of going for these infield passes, but Ricks have not been allowing them to do that, and ever since that second goal went in, just nothing on the offensive side for Solary.
I would disagree, actually. The fact that Solary is on the blue side of the field for once is actually already fantastic, and this is where they play the best. Of course, RLCS has stopped majority of the shots that Solary have been throwing at them in the first game, only one goal. But most importantly, Solary sets up for basically set pieces. Everyone gets into their designed spot and starts putting on shots, while RLCS, all three players in the defense, only looking to get that powerful clear and trying to find out something. But the demos have been bread and butter for RLCS. You see a demo in front of a net, most likely somebody from RLCS has been informed about that. You can see right now on the replay, nobody is seen from Solary's side because that goalie was demolished. The initial players already made their challenges and are out of the play. RLCS are carving their path through Solary by force.
And it's those extra touches just drawing the defenders out as well, not just the demolitions. And I drew comparisons of this Ricks team to Endpoint a little bit earlier on, even more so. Dead Monster putting on his best virtuoso impression and just demoing the keeper to oblivion, although Exotic flicking from midfield almost gets that one through. But 15 seconds to go. Solary needs some kind of push, although that might just trickle in. Oh, Solary lucky in that one, but they need to turn that into offense now, get it right back downfield and have a chance to keep it up in 0 seconds and make this one go to overtime. Shot will be there, saved by Dead Monster. Carrion still could keep it up, but that dunk from Dead Monster will just about do it, although Tox does keep this alive, but not until it's slammed into the floor and Ricks tie the series.
Well, when this match has started and we saw that first shot of RLCS to open up the whole thing, we thought, all right, well, this is already an improvement. They already made yet another shot with only one in their favor in the first game. That's already starting to look pretty good. And look at that at the very end. The difference is staggering. 12 shots versus 4. Solary just barely getting their own opportunities, and it is a rough look for them. It is also an interesting look on the field right now. I feel like that both teams are currently playing such different playstyles, and yet it is working out in the favor of Rigs GG. They managed to stave off any of the attacks that Solary are putting, and it is hard at times. And we saw just if Solary get their passing play going, man, all of a sudden it is such a good shot for them to take. But Rigs GG do wait it out in the defense, and then when it comes to the attack, two of these goals in the previous game were definitely assisted by a demolition of the goalie of Solary. Wouldn't be surprised that the third one was in the same fashion as well. Rigs GG bring their own idea to this game, and it seems to be working.
Can I just point out as well, you talked about it was just defense for Ricks in that first game. Not a lot of defense going on. Only 2 saves for them, although, like you said, they just staved off the shots as long as they possibly could. And the shots just really weren't all that accurate. Apart the couple of goals that Solary did get, there were well-worked passing plays, but any other shot just seemed very futile and inaccurate, although that one's precision made from Exotic. Talks to Exotic, and the first one on the board within 30 seconds.
I'm watching Dead Monster and Magnus get into the position, and it feels like Dead Monster just wasn't sure where the shot is gonna go at all. A lot of net to cover, and with Magnus behind him, he's like he has chosen a little bit of a different approach that he should have in the end. But no reason to cry over the spilt milk. With a disadvantage at the very start of the game 3, Rigs GG, well, this is where the real battle starts. The series are now tied. You have both thrown punches both ways. Everyone knows how you play now. What do you do now? And that's where that deep playbook comes into play, both for Rigs GG and Sol.
And so what separate the men from the boys here in the standings. And remember, both these teams only 30 points apart. Both will get 40 points just for participating. The question is, can you get further than the second round and bag yourself those extra 30 points? And that would tie you up if you're Rigs GG going into the the final count of the standings. Don't quite know yet what top teams will get through, if it's top 16 or fewer. Just have to wait and find out, but all these teams right now just battling for as best a position on that standings table at the end of the day as they possibly can, and obviously beating trying to beat who's in front of them right now. Ricks are doing a good job at staving off anything that's coming their way from Solary, although that 1-goal deficit just sitting there and burning into the eyes of Rigs GG. They want to tie this one up and tie it up quickly, but Solary seem hell-bent on keeping this ball in the blue half.
Just for about 30 seconds or so, Rigs GG once again found themselves. Oh, Exotic just needed a little bit of more space going his way, but he just waited for that opportunity to appear and took it almost fully. But as I was saying, for about 30 seconds or so, Rigs GG once again found themselves in that comfortable position where they are just dominating Solary on their own defense, and this could have been in a much better position for Polar to take a follow-up shot. Solary are very prone to being locked in their own defense, low on boosts, low on clearing opportunities. That's what we've been seeing in game number 2. That's how Rigs GG been, first of all, staving off Solary's offense, not allowing them to perform at their strongest, or at their strongest suit. And here, every single time I see Solary getting bogged down yet again, I'm starting to get worried for them, because the goal in one of them bumps or demos from Rigs GG might be just around the corner in that case.
Exactly, and I mean, flip that on its head. Yes, Ricks have done a good job at least stopping the dangerous shots coming in from Solary, but again, the ball has been spending the majority of its time down in the Ricks half. It's only a matter of time until the front door is battered down by Solary, and they might just go on a tear of a goal spree. A minute 40 left, still only 1 goal on the board. Carrion looking to make it 2, but straight into Magnus, down to Tox, the pass over to Exotic, cannot find the mark, and that could have easily been the 2-0 that puts Solary up to match point.
They're still getting out. They now have turned the game in their own way. If in the previous round, Solary only managed to find 4 shots, that final one coming at the very end, so it was a tough situation for them here. The gears have been oiled. The machine is working on point. Only 1 goal again, but it works. 2 goals. Sorry, a little bit of a correction. Strike that out. 1 goal, put in 2 goals. As more demos, this time on the side of Solary, allow themselves to carve an opening for that shot.
Yeah, it was Dead Monster just getting taken out of the play, and that's what caused that net to be wide open. I mean, you can't beat them, join them. And if you can't join them, just go straight through them and demolish them off of this field. It's exactly what Solary have done. They're done playing Mr. Nice Team. And they're changing up the playbook a little bit, and I think that's what we were wanting to see from this Solary team here, Jam. Just mixing it up a little bit. Catching Ricks off guard, because they've been playing the same kind of game throughout this third game in the series. And Ricks have been holding on to that 1-goal deficit a long time. There's still, again, nothing coming out in the offensive side of the field for Ricks, although Exotic looking to extend the lead to 3 will not be able to do it as Dead Monster takes it to the side. Here comes Tox, looking for his teammate carrying on the left-hand side, but now Dead Monster got it in his possession. Magnus is lying in wait, looking to make that shot, but he'll wait for the touch from Exotic, but it might just be too little too late. Nothing even happens up the orange end of the pitch. And this one's going to go the way of Solary. 2-0 here in game number 3, and 1 game away to go on and face Queso in the next round of the winner's bracket.
Well, we already have seen some back and forth today, and it seems like this match is no exception. Both teams have shown that when everything goes right with their kind of strategy, it works. We saw RiggsGG dominate with those demolitions. We saw Solary really putting some pressure on RiggsGG, and RiggsGG sometimes do prefer to just sit back and wait for that counterattacking opportunity. Here, Solary have turned it back around. This is very reminiscent of the game number 1, with just some numbers inflated just a little bit, but the idea was still the same. Solary sometimes looked vulnerable in the defense, but this time for RiggsGG, this wasn't enough, and they were not able to create the openings themselves. Solary otherwise were pretty much on point, and RiggsGG, with their quite defensive playstyle and everything else, were just not able to counteract anything to Solary's passing playstyles. And as we're currently watching in the background, a couple of these opportunities where defense of RiggsGG either crumbled down or was forcefully removed from the field.
And it was 3 shots there total from RiggsGG in that game, but yeah, I don't remember any of them, because there were so few. There was not a lot of offense for Ricks in that second half. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure all those 3 shots came within the first minute or 2, and then just after that they were just being pummeled on their back line and could not break out of their own half all too often. And right out the gate, Tox, 8 seconds gone, looking to pick up where he left off, and Solary, what a start here in game 4.
Oh, that's not what you want to have once again. My goodness, my heart goes out for RiggsGG right now, but they couldn't stop the absolute onslaught from Solary. They had everyone up the field, and Polar thought that, hey, it's everything is okay. I don't have anyone to worry about, and Tox just coming from behind him much earlier than Polar did. And by that point, in the air, there was absolutely no chances. To be Solary, seems like you need to rise really early.
Certainly do. Polar. The rest of the RiggsGG not getting their Betty buys. They're not enough sleep in their eye. I don't know where I'm going with that. They didn't get enough sleep. That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't rise early enough, Jam. Like my banana bread that I've been baking during lockdown. It just doesn't rise. It's just bad. It's a bad recipe. And the recipe that RiggsGG are using right now, it's not a great one against Solary, because they're getting just completely beaten in every aspect of the field right now. Just not been able to break out their own half, although that's a big pinch up field by Solar. Is that Polar? Is that on target? Yes,
no!
It is. How does that not go in for Ricks? Heartbreak on the line, and they should have been set at a tie game here, Jam. Oh, it's just not going their way today.
Come on, like, what do they need to do for Lady Fortuna to turn its wheels towards him? It had everything. A great clear with nobody from Solary getting at the end of that. It had a player ready and waiting, I believe that was Polar, just to tap it in if it's needed. But Polar, well, if not misread, then was sort of hoping that it's going to go off the post, but the fact that it didn't go in at all and the save was made by Solary, that is daylight robbery. And RiggsGG, if they're not angry just yet, they better be angry now.
It's got to light a fire in your belly if you're RiggsGG, but it can also weigh in you mentally that you should be sitting here at a tie game at the very least. And that one bounce doesn't go your way. And you still got to battle back. 3 minutes to go. for Ricks to save their upper bracket run. Remember, these teams so close together to each other in the standings. And this game could be the difference maker of who goes on to the major and who's going to be, well, everyone's sitting at home during the major, but sitting at home not playing Rocket League in that major competition. 2.5 minutes gone, 2.5 to go. Still all for Ricks to do, although that might help as Magnus takes out Exotic. Free net for Polar to get on that one, but carrying enough speed in the tank to get right back in front of net and back downfield. That's what Solary have done so well here, Jam. Every play that Ricks have been making is met with a quick counter-attack and a couple of opportunities. Not made that time, but it's punishing Ricks for not scoring there.
They just made the best impression of that runaway attempt by Riggs GG as well, with the ball still not going into the net, now on the other side of the field. And for Riggs GG, this is only 2 minutes in, but the problem is you cannot take the whole 2 minutes to somehow fix whatever it is currently a problem with your game plan. And Solary, they know what the trick is now. And Riggs GG, whether through Solary counteracting that or whether through Riggs GG no longer finding those opportunities themselves, Riggs GG are no longer able to execute their game plan. And it feels like past that, they don't really have a good answer for what Solary is currently doing. And while they cannot counteract Solary themselves, that means that they cannot go on their own game plan in the attack either. It is all a horrible, horrible situation for Riggs GG, who are once again struggling to find any old opportunities on the orange side of the field, sitting with one shot, all the while Solary are trying to set themselves up for some highlight goals. They only need one, but they're gladly going to take second or a third one.
And you said it best there, just the game plan not working for Riggs GG at the moment. And the thing about Ricks is they seem to have just came in here with one game plan and not looking at plan B or plan C. Still trying to execute plan A and it's just not working out at all. Tox might squeeze one in. 45 seconds to go. It's a decent save to at least keep them in contention. But the problem, as we've been saying here, Jam, it's just been upfield, no creativity. And the entirety of Solary has just been able to snuff out what they're doing. Again, you're holding your hands in disbelief, Jam. It's just, they've not been able to get anything out of the corner, just been trapped in this corner. Solary have come to meet them and just nothing able to go in the way of solid offense. 13 seconds now. They'll try again from the backboard. Magnus sitting in the middle of the field, but not in a position to turn upfield, and will let Tox through, maybe for goal number 2. Will not happen. Does not matter. Solary are going to win this one unless a miracle happens, which it won't. Solary through to face Queso.
As sad as it sounds, yeah, Riggs GG just couldn't find that answer. And for the last minute or so, they actually looked like they had a plan. And that plan was just overload that defense. Their rotations constantly went past the goal line, and so there were opportunities to bump the goalie, to receive a wild pass. But they never really could find that some sort of a difference, a real change that would really open up the net for something.